Coffee damages and disadvantages. What do you know about it? Many people cannot start their day without a cup of coffee, but what are the harms of coffee? Let's find out about it. Coffee damages and disadvantages. What do you know about it? Coffee has grown in popularity around the world in recent decades, but does this popular drink do any harm? The advantages and disadvantages of coffee. The following are the effects of coffee and its negative effects on health and skin, and the effects of coffee on an empty stomach. 1. Health effects of coffee. Here are the main health effects of coffee. Increased risk of stomach ulcers. Coffee contains some substances that irritate the stomach and the lining of the small intestine, such as caffeine and some acids, and this will certainly pose trouble for those who suffer from ulcers and intestinal infections, so doctors usually advise those who suffer from digestive problems to avoid drinking coffee. In addition, excessive coffee consumption may be associated with an increased risk of acidity and stomach ulcers, as the effect of acidic coffee on the stomach lining may weaken it and make it more susceptible to infection with ulcer-causing bacteria with the relaxation of the lower esophageal sphincter, which may cause heartburn as a result of gastroesophageal reflux. Increased symptoms of irritable bowel. The components that coffee contains, especially caffeine, contribute to irritation of the small intestine, increased symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, and alternating problems between diarrhea and constipation. Diarrhea. One of the damages of coffee is that it speeds up the emptying of the stomach and the passage of food into the intestines without fully digesting it, and increases the movement of the intestines and the contraction of its muscles, which makes it work as a laxative for stools and a catalyst for diarrhea if its consumption exceeds the limit. Increased feeling of tension and nervousness. Drinking large amounts of caffeinated coffee may increase the secretion of stress hormones, such as cortisol and adrenaline, which leads to an increase in heart rate and blood pressure. Drinking coffee in high quantities may cause feelings of tension and nervousness instead of the relaxation and mood enhancing that can occur with small amounts of it. Increased risk of cancer. Acrylamide is a substance that results from the preparation of some starchy materials at high heat. It may be produced in coffee when coffee beans are roasted at high temperatures. The danger of this substance is that it may be carcinogenic, according to some studies. Since this substance is found in small quantities in coffee, it is advised to consume coffee with caution and in limited quantities, or to choose the brands that are free of this substance, or to replace it with green coffee. Increased risk of osteoporosis. It was found that coffee affects the absorption of iron in the stomach, and it also affects the ability of the kidneys to retain some important minerals for the body, such as magnesium, calcium, and zinc due to its diuresis. Any deficiency in these elements may lead to health problems or increase the chance of their occurrence, such as osteoporosis, especially in people who are more susceptible to it. Hypertension. Drinking coffee may cause high blood pressure in people with pressure, so it is recommended to drink coffee in moderation, and consult a doctor about the amount allowed for you, especially in the event of other chronic diseases with high pressure. 2. Coffee damage and its negative effects on the skin. It was found that drinking coffee for a long time may lead to negative effects on some aesthetic matters, the most important of which are dry skin. The high caffeine content of coffee makes it a diuretic, so those who consume high amounts of it increase the chances of losing fluids from the body, causing dehydration. Skin wrinkles. The presence of tannin acid, which in high quantities leads to clogging of cells and not getting food well, and this may cause dehydration and wrinkles. 3. The harms of drinking coffee on an empty stomach. It is usually not recommended to drink coffee in the morning on an empty stomach because of the stimulation of the secretion of hydrochloric acid in the stomach, which is an acid intended for the digestion of food and is secreted if there is food in the stomach. If this acid is repeatedly secreted by your body in response to drinking coffee, it may become difficult to produce enough of it to deal with heavy and large meals later. It may also affect the digestion of proteins due to the lack of sufficient amounts of this acid to complete the process of digestion, so the protein moves to the small intestine without being properly digested, causing many health problems, such as intestinal upset, flatulence, and gas, irritable bowel syndrome, increased risk of colon cancer. Therefore, it is advised to avoid this bad daily habit in order to avoid these risks. Drug interactions with coffee. If you take certain medications or herbal supplements, be careful when you drink coffee close to it, as some experiments have found side interactions between caffeine and some medications, such as some types of antibiotics, ephedrine, osteoporosis medications, some medications for heart disease. So always make sure to consult your doctor about the ideal ways to take your medication away from any foods and drinks that may conflict with it. Tips to avoid coffee damage. If you are concerned about the harms and disadvantages of coffee, make sure to follow the following rules that will make you drink coffee in a healthier way. Make sure that your coffee consumption is moderate and in small cups, as it is recommended that you consume no more than 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, which is equivalent to 4 small cups of coffee. Choose high-quality coffee, preferably organic coffee that has not been exposed to pesticides. Replace it with green coffee, which is a high source of antioxidants and chlorogenic acid. Several studies have shown that it helps to enhance the body's immunity, prevent cancer, and may help with weight loss, and reduce the proportion of fats in the blood. Replace regular coffee with decaffeinated coffee to enjoy the taste of coffee without experiencing the side effects of coffee.